Hello, this video is for Math 2415 Calculus 3. This is your online course video intro to kind of help guide you through the course to make things easier for to adjust and see what you need to do in D2l. Now you can get to your D2l through My Lone Star. This page, D2l.lonestar.edu. I believe the secure login will take you to My Lone Star, but I'm going to just show you this one. You don't have to do it this way, but this is one way to do it. This alternate login. That only takes you straight to D2l. It doesn't take you to anything else in My Lone Star in case you didn't need access to it. All right, let me bring up your course here. And I'll be switching around between student and instructor mode, which I'll do that right now so I can see it from your point of view. Now the main things that we're interested in here are, from your point of view, content's very important. That's where all the materials are. Grades, that's just where you would view your grades. And then course activities, but only one item in course activities, quizzes. That's an important one. So let's kind of go through all this. First thing we'll do is start with the syllabus. And this is where this video is going to be posted. In fact, since this course opens up in about an hour, I might delete this one and so I can put the new video in there. I don't want somebody to jump in at midnight and start watching this one. I'll have to change it to instructor view to delete that one out of there. But it'll have course intro video back in there though. This is the last one of 3 I'm making for tonight, so all right. But anyway, from your point of view, I keep forgetting I can get rid of it, but you can't. Let's go through the syllabus. Let's see what we got here. I'm not going to go through everything, just the important stuff, because you can always read through this and ask me anything you want later on, no problem. All right, my name's Smalley. That won't be on the test. Best way to communicate is definitely email, but I'm not opposed to setting up like an online Zoom meeting with you or something like that. And I tend to do like online meetings optional, totally optional for everyone when we get near an exam period in case you have questions and stuff. So, but if you need to schedule something one-on-one, we can talk about that. All right, so let's see. Okay, I'm not going to worry about reading this to you. Okay. All right, calculator. Well, this, let me clarify, this semester we're not having proctored exams. I'm just going to leave that in the syllabus because at some point we will. Testing Center's starting to open a little bit, but not until it's fully open. Maybe spring of 2022, I might go back to proctored testing. Who knows? It might not be till summer or fall. But anyway, your tests are not going to be proctored, so you can use whatever you want. Now, this is the official textbook, and I'm going to talk a little more about this, but you can use any calculus textbook you want as long as it contains the material, the multivariable material for Cal 3. If you see a calculus textbook that just says single variable, that means it only contains content from Cal 1 and Cal 2. It doesn't have to say multivariable. If it does, that's usually just a Cal 3 book by itself, and it'd be a lot thinner. But if it's just a one-word calculus, it usually covers all 3 courses. And no software like MyMathLab or Cengage is required. So that's the official textbook, but you don't have to use it because no assignments are going to come directly from any textbook. All right, let's see. Okay, no point in this. Let you read all this and day of record, W day, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's come down here. How do we get a grade? That's all right. I see a problem already on this. I'm going to have to fix the syllabus and edit it. It won't take long to fix, but evidently I copied this over from one of my other calculus classes. The structure's the same. It's the quiz part that's wrong. The quiz average, actually there's 8 quizzes in this class, and the best 5 are kept. It's 5 out of 8, not 6 out of 10. So you drop the lowest 3, and the best 5 form a quiz average. Now, the quiz average is essentially equivalent to a test grade. Now let's see how we get a grade. We have 3 regular exams, unit exams, whatever you want to call them, a quiz average, and then a final. The final is mandatory. Now on these 3, so you have the lowest of those 4 is dropped. So exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, quiz average, the worst of those 4 is dropped. Most people, though, the quiz average is a grade you're probably going to keep. But it could be dropped. Usually if it's dropped, it's because maybe somebody has like hundreds on the exams and their quiz average might be like 90 something or whatever, then it would be dropped. But generally the quiz average is to help people. Usually it will help, over 90% of the people, close or higher than that. But every once in a while in a class I'll have someone where their quiz average is the score that's actually dropped. So it's that means you could choose not to take an exam, but obviously let's say if you do well on the first 2 exams and you're doing well on the quizzes, if you don't take exam 3, that's important. That's the multiple integration. It's probably going to hurt you in the final because the final contains a good chunk of that material, so you'd still have to know it for the final, even though it would be your right to choose not to take the test and just count the quiz average. But obviously you can do everything and then just drop whichever score is the lowest. So one thing when people try to ask me, they'll ask me, oh, you're dropping the lowest exam. I have to make sure I explain that clearly because it's sort of a yes and no answer. It's only yes if you have a viable quiz average. So someone can't not take an exam or do extremely poorly and then also choose not to do the quizzes. You can't do both of those, or then that's bad news. So only if the quiz average is planning to replace it, then yes, an exam will be dropped. So it's the lowest of those 4 items. All right. All right, I'm not going to read all of this. Let's see anything. Quizzes. We'll talk more about the quizzes when I go back to D2l. All right, get off the syllabus here. Proctored exams, mentioning that testing centers aren't at full capacity. Oh, I guess I should say testing center is plural. Sorry about the grammar mistake there. All right. Exams, everything's multiple choice. First 3 are 20 questions. The final exam's 25. All right. This calendar is not like an official calendar that you have to follow. It's more like they want us to put it in the syllabus, and I kind of like putting it in there. I don't mind. It's more of a course outline. I'm going to show you the D2l calendar. That's the important one because that's the one that has your due dates. This is just to maybe help you feel like if you're keeping on pace or not more than anything else, to see where you stand. No panic, you have to adjust your schedule with other things you got going on, so if you can do a little more in one week, if you're going to do less in another, that sort of thing. And you can always work ahead a little bit too. I'll talk about that in a little bit if you need to. So that's just there. It's just general information, not anything you have to worry about following in detail. All right, a bunch of good information here about our Lone Star College system. Registration spring. All right, all kinds of stuff here. And I think that'll take care of the syllabus. Like I said, I just went through that real quick because I just wanted to hit the highlights of it. Because then you can read all you want, and then if you have questions, be happy to hear them. But I don't need to read all that stuff to you verbatim. That's a waste of your time. All right. So there's the syllabus. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do is... Well, let me go through this folder for a minute. And that'll be this video in case you ever need to watch it again or look for a specific thing in the video you might have missed. This list of problems for the final exam, you won't have this for every exam, but I do it for the final since, everything, it's at the end, we got everything, so it kind of pinpoints When I say list of problems, this is not giving you the questions with the answers. It's almost like just giving you kind of the title of the question. For example, is there a zoom here? Yeah. So it's not giving you any numbers. Okay, so it's just telling you, that means you're like this first, and of course, that doesn't mean the questions will be on this order when you take the exam, but that means it'll have this question. So it says, it's just telling you, okay, you're going to use a double integral polar coordinates to find the volume of the solid inside the hemisphere and outside a cylinder. That already sounds like fun, doesn't it? That's on the third exam. But anyway, yeah, so that's just telling you, okay, that kind of problem is going to be there, but you can see it's not actually giving you the problem itself. Now, these sections are going to come from a book I'm about to show you in just a minute. Even though you can use any book you want, that's just yeah, that way you'll know where it's coming from in this other book. Not the one that was listed as the official textbook, which actually is the same author, but the section numbers would not quite match if we were going by that. But and this is just a list of practice problems. That's this Larson 9th I'm going to talk about here in a minute. That's the other book. That's just, I can call it homework if you want to, but it's not anything you have to submit. You know, math's obviously not a spectator sport, so you can practice. You do as few or as many as you want off that list. It's nobody's checking them, not grading them. It's just strictly practice. There we go. So we've got that, and some formulas. Well, not provided with exams. I don't know why that doesn't really apply to our class, because you're going to be taking unproctored exams. I think, I don't know. Don't worry about that. But you can use this formula sheet as a reference if you want to. Kind of keeps everything all nice. And when I go back to proctored exams, I'll probably bring this formula sheet back. You know, so but it's not really applicable. It's just a nice summary of the formulas. That's what I usually do for proctored exams. But you don't. So you can use that, obviously, even though it says not provided with the exams. Probably should get rid of that wording. Might do that. So next time in D2l, you might not see that. I'll talk about this quiz entry. I'm going to move this. Oh, let me get back in. I keep forgetting in student mode, I can't move stuff around here. So let me switch back up just for a second. Just go back from my point of view. And I'm going to just temporarily hide this video because, like I said, if somebody comes in at midnight, although it wouldn't make that much difference if you did look at that video. It's pretty much the same thing, but so I'm going to put the new one in there. And I want to put these two together. And I want to actually show you this, how to submit these quizzes and how to review your quizzes. But these files are there for you to look at any point in time. You know, I mean, obviously you can email me. By the time you email me and I email you back, you can probably just look at this and figure it out. Just save yourself some time. It's no bother to me whatsoever, but I'm just looking at it as a time saver for you. All right, here's a bunch of other stuff. Here's just an old trig formula sheet and Khan Academy link. I have my own videos, but obviously if you want to use Khan Academy videos, nothing wrong with that. Testing center info, I guess that doesn't apply. Now, let me come down here and I'll explain what that is right above it. This is an important file here called Other Resources. This is an old textbook, old edition of a textbook. It's the Larson 9th book. It's how my lecture notes are set up to follow these sections. So even if you're studying out of another book, you could at least look at the index on this if you needed to refer, because you can probably still find them by title, obviously, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this, I'm not going to go further down the book. This is the book, and these are the sections in this book that refer to the problems that are on the final exam, that sort of thing. And like I said, my notes actually match that textbook, but like I said, you can just use any textbook you want. That's not critical. But I want to show you that's important that you see that that's there. This calc chat, that means if you were doing some of those practice problems I have on that list earlier, it's a website where if you pick the edition of the book and then you it's for odd numbers only. It's just it's an answer key. Well, it's like a solutions manual. It's not just the answer itself. It just shows a little bit of the process. How, like I say, there may be steps it leaves out. You can always ask me, but yeah. So it's like a little website for a solution manual. I won't worry, but well, maybe. I guess I could click on it for a second here. It wouldn't hurt. And then you just pick on the book here. So if you were using that 9th edition book, like so, yeah, that's that same book. And then you just go to whatever chapter you want. Let's say chapter 11. That's where we start. Section, I don't know, 3. Exercise, I don't know, 17. I don't know if that was on my list or not. I don't know. But anyway, you see it has, so it has just the steps. Yeah, that book itself, if you go back to the very back, it would just show what the answer is. But this actually shows some steps, so that's helpful. All right, so we found that old PDF file of that book, and then anything else in here? No, but like I said, it doesn't hurt. Well, you don't need the testing info, but yeah, click around, look around in here. You're not going to hurt anything. So let's come over here. Lecture notes. I've got all my notes. And like I said, the section numbers for the notes are based on that PDF book. But like I said, if you've got any reasonable calculus book, all this stuff's going to be in there. Just obviously, it's not going to match the same numbers or anything, section numbers probably or whatever. So, but hopefully the title, would kind of guide you to where you need to look or whatever. So, so there's no mystery about, okay, what's going to be on each exam. They're all contained in the folder. This tells you exam 1 notes. This guarantees you that these sections in this folder labeled under exam 1 is what's going to be on exam 1. So no mystery, no surprises. I think everything's kind of organized somewhat. I feel like it is. I've never had too many. I mean, I'm sure I can do lots of things. There's always room for improvement. Don't get me wrong, but I've never had anyone complain that my course is set up so disorganized they can't find anything or whatever. So I think it's fairly straightforward. Now, we do have, there's exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, but there are about some sections here that are not exam 3, but there will be some questions, a couple of quizzes, and questions on the final that come from those. That's what that means. These are notes that are after exam 3, but before the final. So between exam 3 and the final. There we go. So that's like I say, there's not going to be its own test on that either. Like I said, just a couple of quizzes, but no exam on that. It's just going to show up on the final. And I got some old Cal 1, Cal 2 notes, just if you needed them as a reference or whatever, and some old pre-Cal notes. I just put those in there. Doesn't hurt to have them. If you need to, like when we start getting to some integration, you need a refresher there or whatever, you could go look through these and, knock yourself out. Look around, see if there's something you might find useful. Now, lecture videos. Let's take a look at these. These are also organized by each exam. And they're essentially videos of me covering those same notes that you see posted under lecture notes. It's just me explaining what's going on. So you can choose what's best for you. I suspect that most people probably will watch these videos. I would think so. But if you can do it without just looking at the notes, that's okay. But I think the videos probably would help. Some people told me they have printed the notes and then watch the video, and then they can write on the paper notes and make little comments that help them. There's something that's, this means this or whatever, that makes it easy for them after hearing me say something. So, but that's just one method. Whatever you think works best for you when you're studying. I'm just mentioning that people have told me that. You don't have to do that. So we got videos for all these sections. Now, before I do quizzes, I want to come down here. I want to put the quizzes, my other classes, the quizzes at the bottom, so not that matters, but Yeah. And then we have exam reviews. Now, on the other exams, the reviews I don't have, like the final, where it's telling you, each list of each particular problem. That's only because it's a whole semester of stuff. Here, I want you to kind of focus on the review, focus on the quizzes, but don't focus just on the quizzes. Sometimes people will ask me that because the quizzes, they are a part of the content material, but they aren't necessarily all of the content material. In other words, there could be stuff that was covered in the notes and that's on the exam review that wasn't on a quiz and can certainly be on a test. So don't ever just use the quizzes as a study guide by itself. But they're part of the study process. So I got what I have here is just a file with sample problems, and there should be a key at the end where it has answers. I'm not going to scroll down. Okay, these aren't. Yeah, the tests are going to be multiple choice. I would expect. Okay, now no. Okay, well, these aren't multiple choice. Okay, well, that's all right. But the test itself is going to be multiple choice. I don't know why I have a non-multiple choice. That's okay. The answers will be at the bottom of the page. What if that's... Now I'm just kind of curious if they all look that way. The quizzes will be multiple choice, so you'll be used to that. But all right, well, that's okay. All right, these aren't multiple choice here. Well, I'm not going to have time to probably fix them now, but anyway, but I promise you the exam will be. Exams, plural. Well, all right, anyway, long story short, that shouldn't be too bad. So then this file, so that's just your blank file where you might want to try to work some problems. You can check the answer at the end. If you still get stuck, these solutions are just me showing work how to come up with those answers. Yeah, of course that one's kind of easy, but just so it's my written out solution. But obviously you want to try as many problems by yourself. I mean, it's good to practice even if you don't get everything right. It's better to try because it's not instead of just looking at what I did and then you have to do it yourself on a test. That makes it more challenging, a lot more difficult, I think. But yeah, so you have that, and then another resource, so you have that for every exam. There we go. Then you have video solutions. So that means not only, you could look at the where I worked it out, but then you could also listen to a verbal explanation talking about it as I work it out. So in other words, I would suggest looking at the written solution first. Then if you're stuck, and you see some of these are grouped by problem sections or whatever, so if you look at whatever, like problem 28 and go, I wrote that out, maybe I need to listen to the explanation. You can click on this video. It's a YouTube video, and just scroll over till you get to whatever that problem 28 you're interested in, and then you can listen to how I explain it. So that's totally up to you whether you watch these or not. Yeah, these, unlike the lecture videos, I would highly recommend watching every one of those. These, you only kind of, I think, watch just sort of where you need it, where specific. Do whatever you want. I'll watch every one of them if you want to, but I would just treat this more as needed. When you start just stuck on a problem, watch the solution. Now let's talk about the quizzes, and then I'll probably get close to wrapping things up here. Show how the quizzes work. Now the quizzes, as you see, there's 8 of them. That's why I got to change that syllabus. Not 10. 8 quizzes. Now, the name of these are quizzes. You can almost argue that homework sets might be a better name for them. The reason why is because, the term quiz, makes you think it's something you're taking in real time. Okay, we're going to take a quiz here, put away your books, blah, 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 blah. This is a little different than that. I call them quizzes. I've thought about changing them, but I never do, and nobody seems to complain, so I'll leave it like that. I think I explain it in these videos enough to where it's no problem to understand. And this is why you don't, another reason why book dependent's not important for this class. Because these, you'll take exams, you'll submit these quizzes, but they all come off of a file. So you're not having to, so it's not like, ooh, I better have this book because it says I got to do problem number 48 in chapter whatever. No, the problems are all right here. They're telling you the sections it comes from in that old Larson book that I have posted. So what you do is you go through these. They're all 10 problems. You go through these. You work them all out. Get all your answers. And we come over here. And I'm going to go, I'll just jump straight to course activities. So those, you work those out. Now this is not like if you've ever used a software thing like My Math Lab or other things like that, where the homework where you can go in, submit some problems, work on it, go back, submit more. This has to all be submitted at once when you go to the submission step. Now, obviously, on the PDF file, you can work them out a few at a time or whatever. I'm talking about this step we're about to do right here, where you submit your answers. Course activities, quizzes. Now, I've had to do this for the 2 other videos, so let me do it for this one too. I need to make this one active since we're about 30 minutes away from midnight when I'm making this film. And let me just change that so that way I can walk through the process. Let's just change it to yesterday so that way I can give you a little demo on that one. Alrighty. Now this page is very, very important. And there's also D2l Calendar. I mentioned that thing I called the calendar in my syllabus. I believe I mentioned that probably course outline is really a better name, but that doesn't mean anything as far as dates. This is important because this is where all the due dates are. Now, before I show you the quiz process, I'm going to go and explain this. So they're all going to be opened up here in about 30 minutes, and these are all the due dates. Now, this means you have to open them up before that deadline to submit your answers. You can go a little bit past 11 o'clock as long as you open it before 11 o'clock. I think the time limit's like 60 minutes, but you don't need 60 minutes because the idea is you've already done the problems and you're just bubbling in the answers. I'll show you that here in a minute. So we got due dates for everything. Now, there's only one at the very end that's not 11 p.m. So every once in a while, somebody in a class will be like, oh, I didn't know it was 11 p.m. Or they all been 11 p.m. and they magically forgot it was 11 p.m. or something, probably trying to fool me there or whatever. But they're all 11 p.m. It's consistent. Exams and quizzes. Except for the last one, the final. And I'll try to make an announcement late in the semester to remind everybody. The reason for that is that's on a Sunday. That's the last possible day of the period. So of the course period. So I kind of want to make it done. You just have to start it by 7. You don't have to finish it by 7. Start it before 7. So that way, I can get the grades done a little quicker. That way I can possibly do them if I stay up late enough, which I usually do. I could work on them kind of after the exam period is over. So that night, or at least get them started. And that way I can wrap them up on Monday pretty easily. So everything's 11 o'clock except the final. Like I said, you just got to open up. So exams, you'll just have to. Now let me look, and I'll give you a list of the exam passwords, and which you can refer back to at any time. It's always funny if somebody around the first exam, somebody go, "What's the password?" And I'll have it in an announcement here in the day or two. And they just didn't bother to scroll back because these announcements I put in there are not going to expire. In other words, they're not going to stay there a week and then go away. So that means if you're not sure about something, you can scroll back through the announcements, and I'm not going to bombard you with a bunch of announcements anyway. So I'll put this information there, and then that way somebody will. I don't know what the password is. Well, I sent them all out to you. And then they find it, and everything's wonderful. I always give plenty of time. Only reason I put these passwords on the exams, and the exams you take in real time. In other words, you start the exam and you're taking it like it's a test, not having the questions in advance. But I always make them where there's a lot of time. This one has 210 minutes. That's 3.5 hours. So no one seemed to have ever complained about the time aspect of it. I look at the data sometimes when people are taking, on average, a lot less time than that. So now the only reason I have these passwords, which I'll give them all to you, and they're not anything hide. I'm not trying to hide them from you. Just that way, it prevents someone from just accidentally starting the exam, and I have to go through and reset it or anything like that. You're not going to accidentally open an exam. You might do it with a quiz, but I can reset that. But try not to. Just don't do the quiz until you're ready. But I don't want the exam to be accidentally open, and there's no way you can accidentally open it if you just type in a password, because you had to put that kind of effort in there to get it started. So that's the only reason the passwords are there. They're not a big secret or anything like that, but that's why I'm going to make them. Yeah, they're all like this. They're no space. They're exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, final exam, no spaces. So that's why that's there. So I'm sure it'll say, from your point of view, just like, well, I'll show you the quiz here in a second. I'm sure the exam will say the same thing. But let me switch over to student point of view here anyway, because I'm going to show you the quiz thing. Now, one thing you have to watch for here, and I wish it didn't do this, but I don't know, because there's no setting. I don't do this to you on myself, but sometimes it can't change the questions. The questions are locked in there. This is not like an algorithm program like My Math Lab where it can change the numbers. But for some reason, it'll rearrange the order of the answers. But the idea is, if you're careful, take your results from the file itself and just be careful as you're marking your answers. Like if you work a problem and you're certain that the answer is 2.5, and on the PDF file, 2.5 happened to be answer A, but on the quiz for the same question, 2.5 was answer D, you pick D because 2.5 is the right answer, assuming that's the right answer. Yeah, so just go through it slowly and carefully. That's why I'm giving you 60 minutes. It's not like 60 seconds to do it. So you just go through carefully, and I don't know, some will do it, some won't. You just have to be careful when you're marking them. I wish it didn't do that. It's not my intention to trick you at all. I don't know what does it, but it will do it from time to time. So just be careful. Like I said, the good news is it's going to be the exact same problems with the exact same number choices that are on that file. So you're not having to rework a new problem. It's just the order of the answers. So you'll start the quiz, and then you'll go through and carefully mark all your answers. I'll pause for a second here. All right, so all I did is go through here, and I'll scroll back up. I didn't want to make you have to watch me bubble in all the answers. It's kind of boring, but I bubbled in all, and when I say answers, I just randomly generate. I just picked answers. I didn't work these problems out. So I'm not expecting this grade to be very good. Oh, now it does say 9 out of 10, so I must have not gotten one bubbled in there correctly, so which one did not accept my bubble? I probably bubbled. There we go. I'm just picking one. I have no idea if that's the right answer or not. Not worried about it. Yeah, so 10 of 10. And obviously, if you're doing a quiz and let's say it's almost time to submit it and you've got 9 of them done, you just can't get the 10th one right, well, just make sure you get in there on time to submit it, and you can just guess for that particular one. That's all right. Don't leave it blank, in other words. Make sure you have, like this, 10 of 10 saved here. So, like I said, it's probably going to be a terrible score. I think I made sure that I got one of them right just so I wouldn't embarrass myself by getting a 0. But I might only get a 10 here. All right, now it's just giving you, making double checking to make sure you want to submit it. All right, 4 out of 10, 40. Okay, the grade was not important here. Done. Now, you're not going to see, I'm only seeing this because I'm taking the quiz. You're not going to see this immediately. Let me show you how this is going to look for you. Let me get back to, well, I guess I can still stay in student mode and go back to the quizzes. I think it automatically brought the attempt up because it was me taking it. Now these are designed, now the exams I'll have to go through, and whenever, if I forget to open them up, just remind me to open them up. I prefer to do those manually in case there's any issues or whatever. But the quizzes, I have them to set up to open up 1 hour after the deadline. So I know that can be kind of frustrating. Let's say you submit it on the 10th and you got 9 out of 10 right. You're dying to know which one you missed. You're going to have to wait a couple days or so. So you can't view it immediately. You'll see your score immediately, but you cannot view it here until September 13th at midnight, 1 hour after that deadline. Then it will be available. So this blue thing is what you click on to actually take the quiz. That's not how you view your quiz. That's a little different. So it looks like you would just click on that again. Seems logical, but unfortunately it's logical but not correct. So assuming it's 1 hour after the quiz deadline, let me just reiterate that, because if you do it before then, what I'm about to show you is not going to work. And this process is also explained in one of those files that I have on the same page with the syllabus and all that other stuff. I believe it says reviewing quiz submissions or something. So you can always look at it in PDF form instead of having to open this video, or you can open the video and scroll your way back to it if you want to. But here what you do is you go through and you click this drop down arrow and then you click on submissions and then you click on your attempt. That will show you which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong. So let me go back to that. I'll just go. So there's how you do that. And then, like I say, for the exams, you go in there and you have to put the password in, and you just take the exam, hit submit, and then after I open it up. So that's the main. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything. I think the quizzes was the most important part to really go over in detail. I think everything else I was just kind of showing you where stuff is. And so there are the quizzes. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think that's everything. So you see all the. Oh, that's the quizzes. Yeah, so you see all the calendar dates are here. That's important. And then also another place you can see them too, just to show you. They're in the bottom right corner. Of course, later on, you're going to see a welcome announcement to this course. I just haven't put it in there yet. Welcome to the course. And that just kind of shows you, due dates for various things there too, or whatever. So, all right. So with that being said, I think we're covered. So, I think it's going to be a terrific semester here in Cal 3, and I'm only an email away. I'll probably have meetings, like I said, right before exams, optional meetings if you want to pop in and ask questions. But you can always contact if you want to meet with me individually. Just let me know. But I'm always available via email. I have that phone number on there, but that's not good. I mean, if we need to talk, I'd rather you send me a message, and then I'd rather do it via Zoom, because I'm not going to call people back from my cell phone, then I got to go to the office. So, but yeah, I'm happy to talk to you, online or whatever. So anyway, so I think that's going to conclude this video. So I think we're going to have a fantastic semester here in Calculus 3. Good luck and work hard.